You're looking at live footage of the Victory Liner private bus terminal along EDSA where many commuters are still stranded. This comes as provincial buses are no longer allowed to depart their private terminals before 10 in the evening and after 5 in the morning. It's been 3 days since the policy was implemented, and yet many passengers are opting to wait for a ride in private bus terminals.
In the new policy, operators of provincial buses can still ply their routes in and out of Metro Manila beyond the window hours, but they have to use the designated terminals, the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange and the North Luzon Express Terminal. But for bus operators, this means incurring additional toll and fuel costs. For commuters, this means shelling out more money to get to transportation hubs. Time for today's biggest headlines. I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. The LTFRB is standing by this new policy limiting provincial bus routes to select terminals. They say the system works in provinces.
But 3 days into the new rule, commuters continue to flock to private bus terminals, resulting in long lines. And that's exactly what Shaila Francisco witnessed at a terminal in Cubao, and she brings us this big story.
Gretchen, as early as 1 p.m., commuters started lining up to ensure they get the first trip to the provinces. Amid the high demand due to the upcoming weekend, many are still choosing to use private bus terminals amid the confusion over the window hour scheme. Erlinda, who is planning to go home to Olongapo today, tried her luck at a private bus terminal. However, the terminal was closed due to the window hour scheme for provincial buses. So she went to Araneta City bus station instead, only to find out that buses here only go to Pampanga and Batangas. Upon arriving in Pampanga, she will have to take another trip going to Olongapo.
Layo ng linakad namin. Galing kami doon kasi sa isa. Para sa akin matanda na, mahirap na ho yun. Kasi matanda na ako. Gusto ko na lang pag nakasakay ako, dire-diretso na.
Some provincial buses can only operate in their terminals from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. under the new window hour scheme. Commuters will have to ride buses at the Integrated Terminal Exchange beyond the window hours.
Paano pagka halimbawa kagaya ng ko senior citizen na rin, may gusto kong puntahan na ganong oras, hindi namin mapupuntahan.
Mas maganda talaga, ibalikan mo na sa dati kasi hindi naman nila napag-aralan mabuti. Di ba? Maraming tao.
Some ITX operators say they may have to check first whether they can accommodate more provincial buses. But provincial bus operators say operating in ITX isn't viable for them as this will incur additional costs for toll and fuel.
Yung mga bus operator, may sarili ng terminal. Bakit mo ba padadahalin sa Araneta? Pagbaba mo sa Araneta, bus terminal, yung bus na yon, pupunta rin sa garahe ng operator yon.
Pagka naman kasi gustong mag-comply, magko-comply yan at manghihingi ng tulong sa LTFRB. Marami tayong pwedeng solusyon, basta sundin muna nila.
The LTFRB also insists that the ITX system works in provinces. But city planners argue that the situation in Metro Manila is different from provinces.
Systems that work in the provinces will not work in Metro Manila because of the complexity, the density, the number of people, and the mess of a transport system that we have in the 16 cities and one town.
Gretchen, the LTFRB issued show-cause orders for 5 bus lines for choosing not to operate beyond window hours, even if they are allowed to outside their terminals. For now, the LTFRB continues to provide free bus rides from North Luzon Express terminals to Cubao and PITX until June, depending on the agency's budget. And they are planning to add more routes depending on the demand. Gretchen?
Maraming salamat, Shaila Francisco. Now, what are the plans of authorities to ease the burden of passengers with this provincial bus window hour? That big question and more with Undersecretary Frisco San Juan, Deputy Chairman and General Manager of MMDA. Yusek San Juan, welcome po to The Big Story.
Good evening po. Magandang gabi sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Now, Yusek, sa gitna po ng lahat ng kalituhan, kaguluhan, people are also losing sight of the objectives of this program. Maybe you could remind us first, ano nga po ba ang objective dito sa window hours na to?
I would like to believe that we are trying to rationalize the transport system, especially the bus system. No? We would like to make it more regular or fixed schedules instead of each bus trying to overtake each other. That will not happen anymore if the system is rationalized. Yes, I would like to believe that that is the purpose of this policy of LTFRB.
Okay, now in the meantime po, what went wrong, what is going wrong, and what's to be corrected in the implementation?
Growing up, what they call this?
Growing pains po.
Birth pains.
Apa. And what specifically can be adjusted and improved upon?
More information so that our commuters will be able to use their time properly, know when to go to the terminals, and know their schedules in accordance with the timetable of the bus trips.
Okay, Yusek San Juan, maraming salamat po. That was Undersecretary Frisco San Juan, MMDA Deputy Chairman. Transport woes continue to pile up. This time, another big-time oil price hike is expected next week. Gretch, how much of a spike should we expect?
That's right, Robbie. We are talking somewhere near the 5 peso level. You heard me right. The Energy Department says gasoline prices may rise by up to 3 pesos and 50 centavos per liter. Diesel prices are likewise expected to go up by 4 pesos 54 centavos. In a radio interview, DOE Oil Industry Management Bureau Director Rino Abad said the increase is due to the holdup in peace talks between Ukraine and Russia and talks of banning the latter's energy exports. He also added that the easing of lockdowns in Shanghai also affected crude cost. These are the other big stories tonight. Comelec postpones its last round of debates as its co-presenter grapples with payment issues. Meanwhile, government is set to begin its rollout of the second booster shot for COVID-19. Immunocompromised adults can start getting their doses next week. And don't mess with Mike. Boxing legend Mike Tyson loses his cool in the plane as he punches a fellow passenger mid-flight. What exactly triggered Tyson? Find out after the break.
still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. The Commission on Elections postpones its last round of debates amid payment issues of its co-presenter Vote Pilipinas.
As they're set to launch a probe, the poll body is choosing KBP as its new media partner. Greg Gregorio has the story.
The COMELEC has decided to postpone its final debates, initially set to take place this weekend. This, as its partner Vote Pilipinas or Impact Hub Manila appears to still have unsettled payments. It entered into a multi-million peso deal with the Philippine Plaza Holdings Incorporated, owner of Sofitel, for 5 debates. It paid 3 post-dated checks, but 4 of which were dishonored due to insufficient funds. Philippine Plaza Holdings says remaining deliverables will be suspended until the payments are settled. The COMELEC, meanwhile, clarified that they have nothing to do with the deal between the two parties.
COMELEC is not a party to the contract. We are just an end user. Nalaman namin yung problemang yan noong mga nakaraang araw lamang.
The poll body explained why it partnered with Vote Pilipinas instead of media outlets.
With the success kasi ng previous engagements, wala kaming duda na kaya nila. It was only until now na may lumabas na problema.
Although Vote Pilipinas has yet to respond to the issue, an investigation is already underway.
Ito po ay gagawa namin ng karampatang aksyon. Mag-uusap po ang Commission and Bank. Ako po ay naghahanda na ng letter demanding explanation.
In the meantime, the COMELEC has rescheduled the debates to April 30 and May 1, but this time with a new partner, the Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas or KBP.
Be honest about it, very tight yung schedule. Tayo naman sa KBP, alam natin na this is for country. Sabi namin, sige, hanapan natin ng paraan.
KBP, which hosted its own debate in February, has around 1,000 member radio stations and TV networks. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
For the big story in sports, the Philippine women's volleyball team is going all out in their special training camp in Brazil as they prepare for the upcoming Southeast Asian Games. A look into their preparations in my report. Just a few weeks before the Hanoi Southeast Asian Games, it's been non-stop training for the national women's volleyball team in Brazil. And the results have been showing. Recently, the team scored 2 wins against 2 club teams, the towering squads of Ceci Sorocaba and Barueri VC. For mainstays Abby Maranyo and Eliza Valdez, they attribute the success from the efficient training program of head coach Jorge De Brito.
Even if we're lacking also with some skills, they make it to a point na they will give us time also to enhance and improve all those mga skills na kailangan namin.
Ngayon parang mas sa akin, mas nakita ko na grabe yung intensity na binibigay ng bawat isa. Walang tapon. Kasi sa ensayo, walang petics eh.
Meanwhile, fresh off her Japan V-League stint, Jaja Santiago said that fans can expect improvements, especially on their defense.
Siguro yung, kahit di ako dumidepensa, yung mga part na paano kasi madalas ang training namin talaga ball control sa tayo.
The team also got a boost from the 2-time Olympic gold medalist Sergio Santos. Sergio, who is a legendary libero, provided some inspiration. Come the last stretch of the national team's training camp, the biggest focus will be their chemistry.
Limited time to let the girls gel and learn the system that we prepared. So, yung mga tune-up matches namin will be the gauge.
The SEA Games volleyball tournament is slated from May 13 to May 22. The team is optimistic that they will have a better finish in this year's games. Gretchen Ho, we are One News.
Angering the baddest man on the planet might not be the best idea. A flight out of San Francisco International Airport turned violent when boxing legend Mike Tyson threw punches at a man who was allegedly bothering him on the plane. Tyson repeatedly punched the man whose assigned seat on the flight was behind the boxing legends. The man was left with a bloody face after Tyson hit him and hit him and hit him again And again, according to TMZ, Iron Mike was initially friendly with the passenger and his friend when they boarded the flight, but reacted after the man would not stop provoking him.
Hey, Mike, come on. Let's go stop back.
Tingin ko na miss lang ni Mike maglaro.
Hindi, pero nakita ko I saw the video of before yung pinagsasapak
So what
niya.
happened?
Makulit talaga. I don't know what else happened. Pero
Okay.
kita mong kinukulit talaga siya. But I'm
No
not saying it
excuses
was...
for violence,
No,
but
I'm not saying it
Yeah.
was warranted. But yun lang, papantay na.
It
But the
was-
point is, not a good idea.
it was nice seeing him back in action. Just kidding. Time for another quick break. When we return. The second booster dose rollout for immunocompromised adults are set to begin next week. And will we have a new PBA Governors Cup champion tonight? Meralco and Ginebra continue to battle it out with the Gin Kings up by double digits. And we are nearing the elections, but do you know how to find your precinct? Comelec finally rolls out an online Precinct Finder to lessen the hassle. These big stories after the break.
You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. Immunocompromised adults can have their second dose of booster shots starting Monday.
This as government ramps up its vaccination efforts following low booster turnouts. JC Cosico has this report.
Due to waning efficacy, government will begin the rollout of the fourth dose or second booster shot of COVID-19 vaccines on April 25. But this will only cover the immunocompromised aged 18 and above. The health department says they may get jabbed as early as 3 months after their first booster.
Humihina po ang bisa ng ating mga bakuna makalipas ang panahon, kaya naman booster shots are very important.
DOH will use vaccine brands AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, Sinopharm, and Sinovac for the rollout. Senior citizens and health workers, meanwhile, might still have to wait for their turn, pending the recommendation of the Health Technology Assessment Council.
Mas kumpleto ang ebidensyang hawak ng ating HTAC for the immunocompromised. So, minabuti ng kagawaran ng kalusugan, iuna na natin.
To date, 95% of frontliners in the country are already fully vaccinated, but almost 50% have yet to be boosted. DOH attributes this low turnout to complacency amid decreasing infections.
Kalaban talaga ng successful vaccination programs, itong tinatawag na pagbaba ng kaso.
With this, the government has started conducting special vaccination days in areas with low inoculation rates. Starting in Soxargen, Negros Oriental and Occidental last April 20 until Friday, while Bicol Region and Palawan are set to have theirs on April 25 to 26. DOH reminds the public against complacency as the virus is still very much present.
Let's take advantage of this lull na bumababa yung kaso at magpa-booster na tayo at alam naman natin mapagsamantala ang COVID.
So far, over 67.3 million Filipinos have been fully jabbed against COVID-19, while some 12.7 million have received their booster shots. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
The WHO is now strongly recommending the use of Pfizer's COVID-19 antiviral pill Paxlovid. Data shows that risk of hospitalization is cut by 85% after use of Paxlovid. Paxlovid is recommended for mild to moderate COVID-19 patients who still pose higher risk of hospitalization. But the Philippines can't import the product just yet due to lack of any indemnification law for the drug. Such a measure would mean the exemption of the drug company from liability should there be damage or loss. But the Health Department assures that discussions are ongoing for the procurement of Paxlovid.
May mga limitasyon po ang Pilipinas o yung ating mga procurement processes because of specific laws in the country. Kaya hanggang sa ngayon, in discussions pa rin po tayo on how we may be able to go about with this procurement.
Justin, in the world of sports, in the PBA, Barangay Ginebra and Meralco are battling it out in Game 6 of the PBA Governors Cup Finals. It was a tight first half as both squads looked to get the upper hand, but a few minutes into the fourth, the Gin Kings padded their lead, edging the Bolts by 13, 93-80. Ginebra has maintained a double-digit advantage with the score now at 103-92. Ginebra snatched another PBA crown, this time in front of a crowd of more than 20,000.
It's just 17 days before the 2022 elections.
That's right, and to help decrease any confusion on where voters should go come Election Day, the COMELEC has finally activated its online Precinct Finder. The public can now check on their voter status and search for their assigned voting precincts ahead of the May 9 elections. Voters can access the website through voterverifier.comelec.gov.ph.
In the website, voters need to provide basic information including place of registration as well as if they are local or overseas voters. The launch of the website had some hiccups with some users reporting trouble accessing the Precinct Finder, but it's now currently accessible.
The all-important website?
Currently is the operative word kasi ako I tried earlier this afternoon when I saw it was I'm guessing marami, there's probably a surge of people eager to check it out. But hopefully the system stabilizes.
So do check your profile maybe later at 3 a.m. and to lessen the traffic. But kagaya ng binanggit natin kanina, no, napakalapit na. 17 days left till the elections, and time is flying fast, and we're seeing the action. What to expect in the weeks to come?
Well, ayun nga, one thing you can do is to take away one headache, di ba? Wala na yung agam-agam kung saan ang presinto ko, rehistrado ba ako. So take care of that first. And then, well, for the coming weeks, Comelec says everything's go. Ang mahalaga na lang, pag-aralan natin, pag-isipan natin, ang tamang boto natin.
And what a way to head over to the weekend. That wraps up today's big story. Catch us again on Monday, 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And stay safe, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. We are One News. Have a good weekend.